It's Brian Wilson, joined today by Crystal Wright, conservative black chick. That's what she calls herself. And she's in for Larry O'Connor's taking some vacation time. Be back soon. Crystal, good to have you with us this morning. Joining us on the line is Larry Kudlow. You know him from CNBC, all-around good guy. Larry, good morning to you.
Morning. Good morning.
So, look, let's talk about this situation. We were just talking about this with Jim Moran a moment ago. Situation with Ukraine and Russia. The United States is doing, something in the way of sanctions, but it seems that Europe has been unwilling to do so. Does this situation with the down jetliner change that equation?
I think it adds a whole lot more urgency. I mean, you might get more out of Europe. You might. They seem pretty annoyed. Obviously, this great European blow with all the Dutch citizens tragically killed and so forth. So it's possible you'll get more from Europe. But I think the U.S., our whole position relative to Russia has deteriorated because our weakness at home, both in terms of Obama's feckless foreign policy and our weak economy, the worst recovery since World War II, has weakened us abroad, and in that sense, Putin does not fear us. Completely different from Reagan and Gorbachev, where we had a strong economy, and Gorbachev did fear Reagan because Reagan had the resources, to produce weapons and new nuclear strategies if he had to, and the SDI. So unfortunately, that formula has been turned around. What I recommend right now is a concerted effort by the U.S. Treasury to sell rubles and drive the value of the Russian ruble down. This is their Achilles heel. What would happen is the central bank would probably try to prop it up by jacking up interest rates the way they did last winter. That will surely sink Russia into a recession. You'll also have, with the falling ruble, an outflow of capital. The oligarchs and all these businesses will try to get their money out of rubles into dollars. And third, the stronger dollar itself will drive down the price of oil. If you get oil prices down to, let's say, $75, $80 a barrel, remember in the 1990s we had $25 oil prices with a strong dollar policy. In the 1980s we had at one point $12 oil prices with a strong dollar policy. If we slap on a strong dollar policy now, we can do this through the Exchange Stabilization Fund in the Treasury. We will damage Putin greatly, and we will help the rest of the world, by the way, with cheaper oil.
Right, and what do you think? We had Congressman Moran on earlier, Larry. This is Crystal, and he said that, what about we need to be selling some of our oil and gas to Europe as well, exporting it. I mean, we've got an all-time. I mean, it's record high of what we're producing here at home. Am I not right?
Is that for one? Jim Moran got it right one time.
Right, that's what I think.
Even a blind hog.
Right, he even said he was. I'm an environmentalist and all that, but I was like, wow, okay, on that we can agree, right?
It's not a new thought, but yes, he is correct. Along with a strong dollar, cheap ruble policy.
Right.
We should sell as much oil and gas as possible to Europe as quickly as possible. We should waive all the regulations. By the way, I won't say the administration is moving in that direction. I'd like to just
no,
see
they're not.
Some faster. Yeah, they are. No, they actually loosened up export.
Well, you're right about that, but I thought about what they're not moving fast on though is beside the Keystone Pipeline approval, but what about the president talking and getting strong with Putin? I mean, a lot of this goes back to Syria. Don't you agree with that? I mean,
look, the guys run what I call an incoherent, feckless foreign policy. I mean, that's just a factoid. The Russian reset was the beginning of that regarding Russia. His policies in Syria, his policies with Iran, his policies with Egypt, almost unfathomable policies. But I'm just saying, okay, all that is done. All those mistakes are made. We now have a new crisis situation. Putin is a sponsor of state terrorism.
Right, exactly.
Right? The Ukrainian rebels, so-called, are in effect terrorists. The fact that Putin gave them these surface-to-air launch missiles is an example of state-sponsored terrorism. We can't allow this to happen. The fact that 289 or whatever people were killed is a global tragedy. We can't have that happen. These things must be punished. These acts must be punished. Now, I am all for so-called sectoral sanctions. I would stop Russia from doing any finance with the United States. I would try to get Britain to do likewise. Most of their money is raised in London. I would also add Frankfurt to that. I would also add energy to that. But these things take a long time, as you hinted earlier. Europe, may or may not go along. We don't know. They're going to meet today, maybe come up with something. But here's what we can do right now, this minute. The Treasury Department can use their Exchange Stabilization Fund, which, I can't give you a number, but is a gigantic number of tens and tens and tens and tens of billions of dollars worth. Put the ruble on offer. Sell the ruble. Let the word leak out to the various banks and businesses so they know what's coming, and you will see a deflation of Russia's financial system as fast as possible. Central bank may try to defend that. That'll jack up interest rates and cause a deep recession, which, of course, will crimp Putin's hands. And, by the way, a strong dollar will reduce oil prices, so Putin's last source, really his only source of revenue, will be cut off. John McCain got it right one time in a row. Putin's economy is a gas station. All right, you slam gas prices down, then the gas station goes out of business. And I don't know for the life of me why we don't use the dollar. And if the Europeans want to help us, all the better.
Any thoughts about the border situation? I mean, it looks like Governor Perry's going to send the National Guard down to the border over the next 30 days or so.
My friend Rick Perry is doing exactly the right thing. Obama, as best I can tell, the Obama administration, no matter what they may say about deportations, are going to let the majority of these unaccompanied kids stay. I mean, his bill, the $3.7 billion bill or whatever it is, has almost nothing devoted to border security. I say that, as you know, I think, I'm an immigration reform guy. All right, I think immigration reform, if done the right way, is pro-growth. And, by the way, good for the Republican Party. But you can't let your borders dissolve. You got to have some sovereignty down there. And from what I gather, the Obama actions are essentially to let these kids stay. And look, your heart bleeds for the kids. I know that. If there's a humane way to bring them back, maybe we literally have to send our own buses with our own security people to get them back. But we've got to make new deals with those countries down there, stop any foreign aid until they start fixing their local situations. But I think Perry is right. It's a symbolic act, but I think it'll help him. He needs the manpower on the border. So,
are you clear on whether or not the president can put the kibosh on that? Does he have to have any kind of presidential approval?
I don't think so. It's a state National Guard, so far as I know. I don't think the president can stop that. I'd be very surprised if he could. I think the president initially made a big mistake by not going down.
Well, that's what we said. Like you said, Governor Perry took the symbolic stand that Obama refused to. He was too busy at fundraisers.
Right. I mean, look, Obama didn't, in the beginning, go back to the beginning of this.
Right.
Obama didn't even want to meet with Perry.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Then he got so ridiculed for that he finally met with him privately for a small amount of time, and then longer time, but in a crowd of people.
All right, we're going to have to leave it right there, Larry. Out of time, but listen, thank you very much.
Strong dollar.
I hear you.
Putin.
CNBC senior contributor, host of the Larry Kudlow Show, heard on Saturdays at 7 p.m. here on WMAL. Larry Kudlow, thank you.